Hey folks, welcome back, or maybe just welcome if you're new here, to the worst unique OSRS boss drops. Today we're going to be looking at the bosses who, because of their item drops, just aren't worth it. Bosses that don't have a unique drop worth grinding out alone. We'll be considering the drops by themselves. For example, an item that drops in pieces, like the Wilderness Shield Shards, Draconic Visage, or any other item that needs further process in some way to be used, for the purposes of this video, are totally useless by themselves. Also, we're not considering things like pets, as most bosses have a pet available on the drop tables anyway, so what would we consider other than my personal opinion on which boss pets are cooler than the others? Anyway, that all said, let's get right into it. Number 10. Sarachnis. This boss has two unique items, both of which have their uses, so it's kinda low spot on this video for that reason. Sarachnis drops Giant Egg Sac, which is kinda just 100 noted red spider eggs. You do need a knife to open it and pull the eggs out, so maybe I shouldn't count it. You know what, I'm not counting it. But still, Sarachnis also drops the Sarachnis Cudgel, which, while not a very strong weapon, is still more useful than a lot of the other drops on this video. So Sarachnis is the least useless boss to farm uniques for. Number 9. Obor, Hill Giants Club. This thing is a beast. You look like an absolute monster carrying this thing around, and probably instill a ton of fear into people on free-to-play worlds when you hop over the wilderness ditch. But in a members world, this thing is not so good. In fact, it's made the list, but at a low spot because it does in fact have and see uses on its own, but it's less impressive than, say, this Arachnus Cudgel. Number 8. Giant Mole, Mole Parts. Mole parts by themselves are useless, but they can be turned into Weiss and the Farmer in Valador Park for bird nests, which is not useless. But for the purposes of this video, because you need to process the mole parts by turning them into someone to actually get the useful item from them, these meet the criteria I said at the beginning, where they're considered useless for this video because the items by themselves do nothing. Number 7. Mimic, Ring of Third Age. I get it, this ring is sorta cool. It lets you turn into a piece of Third Age on the ground and cause a panic by noobs at the Grand Exchange, but other than a few laughs, does it actually help you in any way? Not really. Which is why this boss and its unique item make the list. On top of all of that, Mimic is not really a boss that you can just farm. You need to actually get an invite to fight the Mimic by completing Master Clues, and that is not something that's guaranteed. Number 6. Crazy Archaeologist. Now, this boss has a couple reasons to make the list. An overall underwhelming drop table led by 3 of the most individually useless items possible. 2 pieces of the Odium and Malediction shields, which by themselves do nothing without the other pieces. And the reason that the boss made the list, the Fedora drop. Now, you might argue this is a fashion reward, I guess, or even point out that the hat has its own emote. But it's ultimately just a cosmetic unlock, which for the purposes of this video, means this boss is sort of useless to farm uniques for when considering the drop's usefulness by itself. Number 5. Scurious Spine. This boss has only one unique drop outside of the pet, that being Scurious's Spine, which can be attached to other items to make one of 3 Ratbane weapons, which are not pointless, but that being said, you need to attach this drop to another item, so it makes the list as a useless unique by itself. That being said, Scurious places here where it does on the list, because unlike some of the other bosses we'll talk about next, Scurious is great for combat training, so at least it has that going for it. Number 4. Bryophyta's Essence. This item is another that drops in an unfinished state. You need to process the essence to make Bryophyta's staff. The staff is not useless, it has a 1 in 15 chance to save nature runes when casting a spell that uses them, while wearing the staff. But because you need to actually turn the essence into the staff first, the essence itself has a 1 in 1 chance of making this video as a useless unique item on its own. Number 3. Skatizo, Dark Claw. Now, naturally while doing Slayer, most people end up with dark totems that you need to take on Skatizo. But other than some sort of Dark Flippers or Purple Slayer Helmet locked Iron Man account, this drop is not only not needed, it's a pointless cosmetic. Which is fine, but it's also why it's made the list on this video. Number 2. Chaos Fanatic. Nothing. Yeah, that's right, this boss drops no unique items that are not found elsewhere, absolutely nothing. It's also in a heavily trafficked area of the wilderness, past level 30 wilderness, so you won't be panic teleporting away from PKers here. This boss doesn't have much to offer if you don't consider the pet or the wilderness shield pieces, which we aren't in this video. The overall drop table is not great either, which is why the Chaos Fanatic is where it is on the list. And finally, number 1. Deranged Archaeologist. This boss is basically the not in the wilderness version of the Crazy Archaeologist. Because of that lessened risk, the already pretty bad drop table is even worse. This boss does not have a unique item at all, which is why it leads this video as the most useless boss to farm drops for. Thank you so much for listening, and if you've made it this far, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to catch future uploads. This has been Worst. I'll see you in the next one.